Okay, welcome. This is something to talk about from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. Today, we're going to be talking with Courtney Oliver, who's the Executive Director of Bainbridge Youth Services. I'd like to start, though, by thanking Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island for helping to sponsor these programs. Fieldstone offers memory care, and they're finishing up work on assisted and independent living up on Rolling Bay. To learn more about their programs, including day stay and respite programs, call 360-689-4314. Bainbridge Youth Services supports young people and families on our island in many, many ways. And we're going to find out about some of those ways with Courtney Oliver, who is the Executive Director. Thank you, Courtney, for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this.
Well, tell me a little bit about the overall mission and vision of BYS, just to kind of set the context.
Absolutely. So Bainbridge Youth Services has been here for 60 years. We are going on our 61st year. And we really started out as a jobs board, really participating. It used to be kind of a variety of different places. But we are currently, our mission is to really focus on youth and their families around their mental health and social emotional well-being.
Well, the jobs board continues, though. I get emails from time to time in my mailbox suggesting that there are people who are either looking for work, looking for help, or and so how does that work? We'll just go back to the origins a little bit there before we get to the broader programs.
Yeah, it's great. We started out as that jobs board, used to just be a bulletin board that was outside. I often find when I talk to people my age and I tell them where I work, that's the first thing they say is, oh, I remember the jobs board, or that was where I first got my first job. And so ideally, due to technology and just years, we actually transitioned the jobs board as an online. It was a really great opportunity to be able to get youth and community members connected, and then also give our youth ways to give back. What we do now is we have a link that's on our website for our jobs board, and you actually go on there and you write down what you're specifically looking for. And so it can be any kind of job on the island if a community member wants. So for example, a community member will come in and let us know, hey, I'd like someone to help me mow my lawn, or I'm looking for somebody to give us to help clean up an attic, or whatever that might be. And so the person will actually go on our website and go to the jobs board link, and then you fill out the application. And then what that does is it actually goes to our youth database, which is about 700 kids, and it's constantly growing in the community. And then those kids read that request, and then they will get into contact with you after they read it. If they think that you're interested, they will go and use it. So yeah, so this is really just looking at the website, basically asking per hour, what is the job description? What is, some of the things that people do. We have piano lessons, we have, babysitters, anything. So it's really for any community member who is interested in needing a job being done.
And do you get a lot of kids participating in that?
Yeah, so that's usually the first thing kids will come in. When they get into high school, they come and drop by BYS and they say, I want to get on your jobs board. And so we have about 700 kids sign up currently.
Wow. That's an impressive number.
Yeah.
But that's really the tip of the iceberg, or the beginning of the story about what Bainbridge Youth Services is doing today. I know you do a lot of mental health counseling for kids, young people. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we, obviously it's funny to think about a lot of the reasons why BYS was started. And, a lot of what we know about a lot of nonprofits is they start with a vision and kind of a small group of people. And one of the things that they felt needed to help not only the jobs board, but this idea of how do we work with some of our youth that are struggling or needing support. And so we started providing, and this is decades ago, counseling for our youth. And we are doing ages 13 to 21. In the state of Washington, youth can actually sign for their mental health consent to treatment at 13, which means that they can come and receive services without their family knowing. And that's really important in terms of being able to get services and get support in it being a confidential and safe space. So a lot of kids will come in for a variety of different reasons. Some of them are struggling with academics. They could be dealing with peer relationships, depression, anxiety. The top three things that we normally see in our usually on a quarterly basis is depression, anxiety, and academic stress or pressure. We are pushing, so we actually, it's very set up like a model of if you went to a private practice, each kid gets a counselor. They can see their counselor however they want, how long they want. We don't have a time frame for that. Some kids will come just one time and feel like they're finished. Some of them will come for the entire school year. Some will come for the rest of their high school career. So we kind of see them, they get to see the same counselor. Most of our kiddos will come once a week or every other week. And really just getting skills. They're seeing a licensed, a state of licensed mental health counselor. So they're all of our counselors are licensed in the state of Washington. And so that's really important. And it's all free for them. We push about 70 to 100 hours a week of counseling per week.
Has that need grown in your term or while you've been working at BYS?
Yeah, I think, I think a lot of it, there's a multitude of things. I think kids are a little bit more open about mental health than like even my generation.
I think I noticed that this week the New York Times Magazine is about therapy. So the whole
Yeah.
culture has gotten more open about it.
Very different. And so a lot of those stigmas that we might have had when we were growing up, or just kind of that taboo of what that looks like, or even just what mental health looks like, I think is very different for them. So they look at coming to counseling as like going to the gym, right? It's something that they do on a regular basis that keeps their mind free and helps them through stuff. That is something that I think also increased when COVID hit. There was a lot of kids that were incredibly isolated. We saw a huge surge of kiddos that were dealing a lot more heavier with mental health issues. We saw more increase of youth actually either engaging in self-harm behaviors or even having suicidal ideations. And so those were things that we were definitely seeing. We're not necessarily out of the woodwork yet, but I definitely think that we've gotten to a place where kids we're constantly growing in terms of that service.
And I noticed on your website, you also have a note about support groups. Are those for similar kinds of working through life's issues?
Yeah, so we normally kind of, one of the things that our motto and our mission around BYS is really taking the lead of a youth. I think sometimes as adults, we have bigger ideas for them and they don't always pan out. And so I try to really do a lot of our programs based on their interest. And so we do from time to time, we have a variety of different kids will come in and say, we're struggling with this. How can we create a group? And so we really bring the facilitator with them, but we really help them and kind of empower them around these issues. Couple of times that we've done this, and we kind of do this on an ongoing basis, is we had a group of kiddos that came in probably the beginning of the fall and said, listen, we're still grieving over some stuff. We want to put a support group together. And so we did. We had our licensed counselor in that facility group, and then they kind of bring the kids, they kind of help and advertise and get that. So grief group is one. We also have had times where sexual assault has been a primary issue, in terms of just our community, and kids get concerned. And we've had some sexual assault
And no, I remember talking to some young ladies about the feeling that the school district was not being as responsive as they thought they should be. And so having a place like BYS to go is
Yeah.
probably really, really useful.
No, absolutely. And I think it's more about like, how do we empower our kids to make some of these decisions and create these support groups? So that was definitely something we did for both female and male support groups for that.
So, yeah, and I noticed, well, here at the senior center, we have some support groups that come and go a little bit. We have some regular support groups for uh, folks who are helping people with dementia. We have support groups for people who are basically just coping with the challenges of thinking about what it's going to be like to be 70 or 80 or 90 years
Mhm.
old, and
Yeah.
the differences that that means in your life, how you're going to make the most of the years that you are living today.
Yeah,
And I'm sure that that's true also if you're 13, 14, 20.
totally. Well, and I think also too, sometimes we have situations where where our therapist will be sitting in a room and we're all talking about the same things around our clients. So we're like, oh, like you're dealing with this. And so sometimes we'll kind of create a group by pulling some of these kids and saying, hey, would you like some more support around this? And so we can kind of find general themes that happen. And a lot of them are community driven and some of them are just internally driven. So yeah, absolutely.
I know that you had a big um, sort of opening of the tent a little bit of your mission or your activities with the inclusion of some parental family discussions and programming. Can you tell me a little bit about that? The
Yeah.
you joined with Raising Resilience.
Yeah. So one of the things I think for that's really important to recognize is, we see kids 13 to 21 and um we also recognize that, if we want healthy youth, we need healthy families. And we need to be able to support the parents that are with these youth. And if we can really start doing a little bit more prevention and being able to support kids um, through their parents, that would be a really great opportunity. So last May of 2022, we acquired Raising Resilience, which was a nonprofit on the island that was here for 20 years, and they were providing education and resources to our parents on the island and also our grandparents on the island. Again, it takes a village. And so one of our goals with that was really to do a listening tour. And so we spent the first couple of months, probably about the good 3 months, really meeting parents and community members and specific organizations that were really working with families and just kind of asking what their needs are. And the couple of things that came up was a lot of parents really felt isolated and felt like they didn't really have that peer support. And then also really not really knowing where to get tools within their community. And so one of the things that came out of it is not only are we continuing to do what Raising Resilience mission was, which education and resources, we actually added a service component to that, where we've actually been doing for the last year, creating, we actually have our own podcast, which is called Ask BYS. And it's geared towards parent listeners. And our goal is to match like a particular topic and then have a parent communicate and talk to an expert. So last month we did parents and athletics. So we had a parent talk to a counselor who is an expert around dealing with athletics. And so basically, like if you have an athlete, how do you parent your kiddo, right? That's an athlete. We talked about we talked about sexual assault. We actually had Kelsey Lynch, who is the Bainbridge community navigator. We talked about just connecting parents with therapists around adolescence and teen. We recently just completed one about neurodiversity. So our goal is really about providing resources, but also providing that connection where a parent is asking the question, so why not get the best resource for them? The other two things that we've done is we've opened up another office space that's downtown that we're doing we're doing parent counseling. And again, that service is free, where we are having parents really work with therapists around just parenting needs. And then the last thing that we've done over the last year on a quarterly basis is provide parent support peer groups. And that's actually been really great because we've been doing it for all ages. So parents are not just working with that only have teens, they can have 5-year-olds, up to 21-year-olds. And so we actually created 4 different groups that were geared towards a specific age range. And then after that, we actually have a bilingual Spanish one. So that has been a great contribution. It's definitely still a work in progress, but it's been a lot of fun to really meet parents where they're at and giving them skills to thrive.
Do you feel like there's a good awareness among parents or grandparents about this resource? What's the right way for them to plug in to find out more?
Yeah, definitely going to our website, signing up for our newsletter. We're constantly giving advertisements about that, I think is key. I think one of the things about parents and like youth is it comes from word of mouth. So as long as we keep doing the good work, it just keeps spreading.
Yep, and I appreciate you talking a little bit about it today. So there's some other aspects of I know that the senior center definitely works with you on a program called Silver Tech. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness. It's probably one of my favorites. We actually just had a photo shoot where we took pictures down at the senior center, and it was so much fun to see those pictures and see all the work that both of them are doing. But our project, it's called Silver Tech. And every other week we have youth that come down to the senior center and volunteer their time to help support senior citizens with their tech needs. And I think there's just kind of a wide variety of things that they do. I don't know necessarily if it needs to just be with seniors. I feel like I need them, but
Well,
it's really,
I mean, it basically can be something as simple as how do I adjust the volume, or how can I make sure that I don't get the phone ringing? Where's the little switch to turn off? Or how can I use a calendar or explain FaceTime to me? And we have folks who come with laptops, who come with Android phones, with iPhones, and then all kinds of other little questions. It's a very popular program.
yeah, it's really exciting. And I know the kids love doing it and they enjoy it. And again, it's another great way for youth to connect. And I think one of the great things about it too is it feels like they're giving back to the community in a way that is really needed in a small way. And they make really good relationships with people.
I feel like one of the things that we know about mental health is that service is an excellent sort of way that you can respond to your own challenges by kind of looking at what's going on for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so this is a great sort of low pressure way to do that. We get
Yeah.
different numbers of kids, different kids come different weeks depending on their schedule. So they don't have to sign up for the whole year or the whole series.
Yeah. It's great. And it's just another great way of connecting. So yeah.
And then the other thing that I see here is peer tutoring. So you help with homework too?
Yeah, so this is probably our largest program, crazy enough, and it's actually for all ages. So we have kids at kindergarten up to 12th grade. And the idea of it is that kind of like the same idea with counseling, providing this additional support for kids that might not be able to afford it is really important. So what we do is we actually have a system, and it's all on our website. Kids that need community service or just want to donate their time will let us know that they're interested in being a tutor, and they let us know what topics or subjects that they're really good at. And then what we do is we actually keep a list tally of those students. And then parents or youth will come in and say, hey, I'm really struggling with math. Can you connect me with a tutor? And so what we do is we connect them, and they actually tutor in this building. So as you can imagine, Monday through Thursday, from 3 to 5 p.m., this place is packed. Like, we have whiteboards everywhere, we have snacks everywhere, we have fifth, kindergartners sitting with a high schooler learning how to do math. We have, 2 people in the corner doing history, whatever that might be. But again, it's free for everyone. And we just do that. And it's just, again, another great opportunity to connect. It's really beautiful to see these relationships develop. And some of our tutors stay the whole time they're in their careers. So that's also a really great thing to just like grow with the kids and see their progress.
Well, I know that we're right in the middle right now of Bainbridge Gives, and we're out there too, but you're one of the organizations that is seeking funding. And can you tell us a little bit about that and other ways that you raise money for these important services?
Yeah. So, obviously we are a nonprofit, and I think one of the most amazing things about Bainbridge is to be able to have a service like this. And a lot of our donations, about 50% of it is individual donations. 40% are grants, specifically great Bainbridge Gives, and other grant resources such as the City of Bainbridge or other organizations. And then about 10% is specifically like our fundraising events. One of our big fundraisers that's actually coming up is the BYS Fun Run, which is on the 4th of July. And that's that morning run before you get ready for the rest of the day for the 4th. And so usually, we are just like Reed, we're pounding the pavement, always looking for new funding, because as I can imagine, Reed, a lot of our programs continue to grow, and the people being served continues to grow. So that has just been a great, fortunate opportunity to be able to do that.
The services that you are providing are not fee for service; they're free, which means that those who can should support them. Make sure that it works out that way. Now we've gone through this crazy pandemic, and we're pretty much back meeting in person now for almost everything. What do you see coming up for BYS that are the major challenges or opportunities that you and your team are working on right now?
Yeah, so we're currently in our second year. So as you can imagine, school is almost ending. Even though school is done for the year, we actually still are open. So we're open throughout the year. We are still serving kids during the school year, during the summertime. We will probably be, in a couple weeks, we're actually going to be starting our Work Ready program. And it is going to be in its second year. And it's kind of a switch from our summer internship program. We used to have one for a variety of different years, but the last couple of years, we've actually partnered with the chamber. And how we've designed it is, as you know, the summer hits, and I think there's an increased employment for not only the need of the businesses in our on the island, but also an increase of a whole bunch of kids' summer break, right? And so how can we really utilize both and celebrate that our community can actually get Bainbridge youth and jobs, right? So what we do is we actually work with the chamber, and we match kids. Where I'm actually going to do the interviews today and tomorrow. That we have about, we open it up to anybody 16 and above. We do get some kids that are coming up from college, coming home from college and need a job. But what we do is we match them with employers on the island, and they actually do a 8-week employment. Minimum of hours is 20 hours a week. And during that time, not only are we working with them, we have workshops that we have them attend. They're really kind of a cohort, and they work together, and we kind of walk through all of that. Because as you can imagine, a lot of these kiddos are getting a job for the first time, and it's all new. And so we really go through the interview process and show them how to interview or give them feedback about a resume, or if something goes on during the summertime, we will communicate with them and say, hey, like, how can we deal with conflict, or how do you deal with talking to your boss if you're upset about something, all those kind of soft skills that a lot of kids might not know in the beginning. And so how can we really walk them through that process instead of just kind of throwing them at a job? And so we actually do that all summer. And that's probably what we're currently working on, is just kind of doing that. At the end of it, they actually get a scholarship of $500 if they complete the program and do all the workshops. So that's kind of a fun,
That's a wonderful,
motivation.
yeah, right. There's a graduation present there.
Totally.
Well, you say this is 2023 will be the second year of this program. So it sounds like last year went well, and you're getting good response from employers who, it takes a little work on their part, obviously, but they get some great resource as well, and they get the good feeling of helping a young person get off to a good start.
Yeah. And a lot of the jobs are a lot of fun, and just like something that they get to learn and almost shadow people in that opportunity too, which is really cool.
Never mind.
Great. Well, those are my questions. I really appreciate you taking the time. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add that we didn't touch on, but if so, here's your
No,
chance.
you were great, Reed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bainbridge Youth Services, the website is what? AskBYS,
AskBYS.org.
AskBYS.org. Thanks a lot,
Perfect.
Courtney. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Take care.